On Friday, June 9th, 2017, we have a TPT match between two teams that have done extremely well in the past. The red team, always a bridesmaid, is red. Who is our captain? Is it Lee, as usual? Okay, let's smile and a wave from the red team. And we have Casu Marzu, which is short for Casu Marzu as Casu Marzu. I got that down. And who is our captain for that group of worthies?
Ray.
Cross Beast.
Ray is our captain. Okay, Lee and Ray. Red team and blue. The same rules apply, teams. Remember, you're only allowed to buzz in a total of twice per category. If you buzz in a third time, your team will be penalized and the other team will have a free shot. There's no consulting except in the case of a steal and in the case, which I frankly don't expect to happen too much with these two teams, and at the beginning of each category where you can decide whether it's a strength of yours, you might want to lay out the layer points. Other than that, teams, big smiles, big energy, have a good time. We go with our first round. The first category, I've totally forgotten, is It Borders India. It Borders India. We're talking about countries. It borders India. Okay. Everybody mute for 1 point. It borders India. Of the 6 nations India borders, this one is the most populous. Of the 6 nations, Ray?
What is Pakistan?
Incorrect. Over to you, red team.
Bob, we're going to go with China.
China is right for 1 point. Okay. I have these reversed. China is correct for 1 point. For 2 points. The disputed ownership of the Kashmir region is a sore spot between India and this smaller neighbor. Ray.
What is Pakistan now?
Now we have Pakistan. That's right for 2 points. And I always like to have reminders of this early on. Ray, you are out of this category because you buzzed in twice. So keep your hand off the buzzer or you'll regret it. For everybody else, it borders India for 3. On its extreme east, India borders this nation that changed its name, Andy.
Bangladesh.
Incorrect. We subtract 3 points. Over to you, Lee, and your team. On its extreme east, India borders this nation that changed its name following a coup in 1989. The team can consult and either respond or pass. It's a long par 4 to this category.
We will go with Myanmar or Burma.
Myanmar or Burma. We would have taken either one. That is correct for 3 points. For 4 points. It borders India for 4. The Ganges River flows through India into this neighbor where it reaches the Bay of Bengal. John?
Bangladesh.
Now we wanted Bangladesh. That's right for 4 points. And finally, for 5 points in It Borders India, this nation to India's north is also the only other nation with a Hindu population of more than 80%. Charlie.
What is Nepal?
Nepal is right for 5 points. Okay, we're moving along nicely. These next clues are brief, team, so be aware. The category is classic ads and jingles. Classic ads and jingles. For 1 point. It's finger licking good. Lee.
KFC.
KFC is right. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Classic ads and jingles for 2. When it absolutely positively has to be there overnight. Rochelle.
FedEx.
FedEx is right for 2 points. Classic ads and jingles for 3. Is it live or is it this? Rochelle?
Is it live or is it Memorex?
Memorex is right for 3. And now Rochelle is out of this category. 4 points. The ultimate driving machine. John.
That's BMW.
BMW, that's right. Finally, for 5 points, teams, classic ads and jingles. Solutions for a small planet. John?
IBM.
Yep, IBM. A triple stumper on the show, I might add. Okay, our third category.
Wasn't that long ago, was it?
Third category, occupations. Occupations. For 1 point. Prep and line are types of this four-letter job. Prep, Charlie?
Cook.
Prep, cook, and line cook. Correct, for 1 point. I knew that because I'm a Top Chef fanatic. For 2 points, I also like to eat. Of chairs, chicken, or chinos, what you're most likely to haul if you drive a reefer truck. Of chairs, chicken, or chinos, what you're most likely to haul if you drive a reefer truck. 5 seconds. Time. Dan?
No clue.
No. Reefer is short for refrigerated, so it would be chickens. A reefer truck is a refrigerated truck. Occupations for 3. Broadly used. This term can include nurses and therapists, but it often refers just to emergency personnel. John?
Sorry, paramedics.
Paramedics. Remember, teams, you have 3 seconds to unmute and respond. Paramedics is right. That's the broad term. Very good, John. For 4 points in occupations. A professional sports broadcasting duo consists of a play-by-play announcer and the analyst, Lee,
Color commentator.
called a color commentator. That's right, for 4 points. Finally, for 5 points in occupations. Someone employed in rousting game so it can be shot. He doesn't necessarily go around the bush. John?
A beater.
A beater is the one who rousts game. At the end of 3 categories, always a bridesmaid 35. Casu Marzu wants to step it up with 4. Our next category is and crown thy good. And crown thy good. If you think it refers to crowned heads, you're right. For 1 point. In 336 BC, at age 20, he succeeded his murdered father as Macedonia's king and was just super. Well, that's not the right word. Ray?
Who was Alexander the Great?
Yes, he was great, not super. That's 1 point for the blue team. And crown thy good for 2. In 1696, this Russian Tsar conquered the Ottoman port of Azov on the Black Sea. Awesome. Again, the wrong word. Andy?
Peter the Great.
Peter the Great. He was great, not awesome. That's correct for 2 points. I got this corny stuff written down here. It's Alex, what do you want from me? For 3 points. In 1905, Haakon VII was chosen king by the people in parliament of this country after it separated from Sweden. In 1905, Haakon VII was chosen king by the people in parliament of this country after it separated from Sweden. Andy?
Sorry, Finland.
No, that's not right. Lee and team? In 1905, Haakon VII was chosen king by the people in parliament of this country after it's separated from Sweden.
Sorry, Bob, slow on the clicking. We're going to go with Norway.
Norway is the right answer. Yes, Norway is correct for 4 points. That was, I'm sorry, that was 3 points. My mistake, that was 3. Now it's for 4 points. George I, king of this country from 1863 to 1913, supported a movement to revive the Olympics abolished in 393. John?
It's got to be Greece.
Sure, Greece for 4 points. Finally, and crown thy good for 5. The heroic 480 BC death of this king of Sparta at Thermopylae made him famous? John?
Leonidas.
Leonidas or Leonidas is right. Somebody here saw 300, I hope.
Yeah.
Well, I'll save the joke till later. Okay, we go from and crown thy good to with brotherhood. With brotherhood is the next category for 1 point. Last name of Kevin, Joe, and Nick, whose album Lines, Vines, Rochelle?
Jonas?
And Trying Times debuted at #1. That's right.
Rochelle actually runs their fan club.
Oh, well, she'd be embarrassed if she didn't know that one then. With Brotherhood for 2. Originally formed as a trio in Gary, Indiana in 1963, these singing siblings gained fame as a quintet. Lee?
The Jackson 5.
Yes, the Jacksons is correct for 2 points. Here we go with Brotherhood for 3. Twin brothers Matthew and Gunnar, Ozzie and Harriet's grandsons, had hits in the 90s under this name. Twin brothers Matthew and Gunnar. Rochelle?
Were they called Nelson?
They were Nelson. Very good for 3 points. With Brotherhood for 4. 2 motorcycle accidents a year apart and 3 blocks from each other claimed 2 lives. John?
That was just in the news. It's the Allman Brothers.
Yes, the 3rd life was just claimed last week. The Allman Brothers is correct for 4. And finally, for 5 points, the Dust Brothers produced this sibling band's Middle of Nowhere, which featured Mbop. Andy?
Hanson.
Hanson. You have so many relationships in his life, only 1 or 2 will last. Prepping this game, I listened to Mbop again, and they have a new acoustic version that's really to die for. It's really good. Okay, we finish and crown thy good and with brotherhood to from tea to shining tea. In this corny category, each correct response will begin and end with the letter T. Okay? From tea to shining tea for 1 point. On television, apparently both America and Britons got this, a special natural ability. Ray?
What is talent?
They got talent. That's 1 point. That's the T from shining tea. For 2 points. It gains you admission to the ball game. Yeah, that's the Ray.
What is ticket?
Ticket. That's correct for 2. And for everybody but Ray, we continue for 3 points. Proverbially, you can have one of these in a teacup. Proverbially, Andy?
Tempest.
Tempest in a teapot is correct for 3 points. For 4. Elephants call each other with this instrument, but not literally, except maybe, John?
They trumpet their calls.
Trumpet is correct, except maybe at Ringling Brothers, erstwhile anyway. And finally, for 5 points, in from tea to shining tea, also meaning touch. It's a keen sense of what to say to avoid giving offense. Lee?
Tact.
Tact is right for 5 points. And at the end of the first round, we have always a bridesmaid 66, Casu, Marzu 15. We're not going to have a tie, but we're going to go right into our second round where the points are doubled. The first category, Russian literature. Russian literature. Good luck, teams, for 2 points. In this 1866 Dostoevsky novel, a student named Raskolnikov, Ray?
What is crime and punishment?
Right. Murders an old woman pawnbroker and her sister. Russian literature for 4 points, I beg your pardon, for 4 points. By 1890, this author and playwright had written hundreds of short stories, including The Steppe. Rochelle?
Anton Chekhov.
Yep. And for my money, the best short story writer ever. For 6 points in Russian literature. Wounded in World War I, Yuri Zhivago is nursed back to health. Ray?
Who is Pasternak?
Incorrect. A little bit too early on this one. Here's the full clue, Lee. Wounded in World War I, Yuri Zhivago is nursed back to health by this woman who was to become his mistress.
We're gonna go with Lara.
Laura's theme is correct. Yeah, it was a good guess, but that's where the clue took us. Okay, for 8 points. Lev Rubin, in this Soviet dissenters, the first circle was based on, John,
Solzhenitsyn.
say again?
Solzhenitsyn.
I'm not going to accept that. I'll complete it for Mikasu Marzu. Lev Rubin, in this Soviet dissidents, the first circle was based on 1960s Russian civil rights figure Lev Kopelev. Ray?
We don't know how to pronounce it any better than him, so we will not answer.
Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Solzhenitsyn. I'm sorry, John, the pronunciation was too far off both times. Could not accept. Okay, for Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Finally, for 10 points in Russian literature. This Taras Bulba author wrote his masterpiece, John.
Gogol.
That you got pronounced right. Nikolai Gogol.
That was a lot easier.
For 10 points. He wrote Dead Souls while living in Rome, interestingly. Okay. Next category has a pair of quotation marks in it. Cinema of blood. Cinema of blood. The word blood will appear in every response. For 2 points. Daniel Day-Lewis starred in this 2008, Rochelle?
There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood, 2008 Oscar-winning adaptation of an Upton Sinclair novel. Very well done. For 4 points, Cinema of Blood. Leonardo DiCaprio's African jewel smuggler gains a conscience in this film. Andy?
Blood Diamond.
Blood Diamond is right for 4 points. For 6 points, Sylvester Stallone played Vietnam vet John Rambo in this 1982 film. Lee?
Rambo: First Blood.
I can't accept that. Over to the blue team. Sylvester Stallone played Vietnam vet John Rambo in this 1982 film.
First Blood.
First Blood. Yes, Rambo was not part of the first title, Lee. I had to go through my memory book and I checked it. Okay, for 8 points. The Coen brothers debuted with this murderous Texas, Lee?
There Will Be Blood.
Have to subtract that. That's wrong. Over to Mikasu Marzu. The Coen brothers debuted with this murderous Texas noir tale.
What is Blood Simple?
Blood Simple is what we wanted. That was 8 points. And finally, for 10 points, movie in which Jean-Claude Van Damme wins a secret, Ray?
What is Bloodsport?
Bloodsport, secret martial arts tournament. All right. So those secret movie watching guilty pleasures are paying off. Okay, our next category, survival at sea. Survival at sea for 2 points. Stephen Callahan drifted for 76 days and 1,800 miles on one of these he called Rubber Ducky 3. Ray?
What is a raft?
More specific?
A life raft.
I'm going to accept it because it's the official is inflatable raft, but life raft is it's inflatable and it's rubber, so I'm going to take it for 2 points. For 4 points in survival at sea, capsized off George's bank, Ernie Hazard survived 2 days in his underwear in this ocean. Capsized off George's bank, Ernie Hazard survived 2 days in his underwear in this ocean. 5 seconds. Time. George's Bank is in the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean. This next clue is very long, teams. I warn you right now. For 6 points. Survival at sea. Richard Van Pham, who originally set sail from Long Beach, California, heading for Catalina, got blown just a bit off course, and after 4 months, ended up near this 2-word Central American country popular for spring break. Richard Van Pham, who originally set sail from Long Beach, California, heading for Catalina, got blown just a bit off course. Ray?
What is Costa Rica?
Costa Rica is right. A lot of verbiage, but worth it for me, Casu Marzu, for 6 points. For 8 points. This ancient mariner bird is the title of, John?
Albatross.
Yes, the title of her true story of a woman's survival at sea, Albatross, for 8 points. Finally, for 10 points. Better at navigating than handling subordinates, he was put adrift in a 20-foot boat in 1789 and sailed 3,600 miles, John.
Captain Bligh, Mutiny on the Bounty.
I wonder what kept you. 10 points, yes, Captain William Bligh. Okay, at the end of the halfway point of the second round, always a bridesmaid 84, me Casu Marzu 47. The next category clues are as brief as the last one were long. The category is parts of the whole. Parts of the whole. I will give you 2 parts. You give me the whole. For 2 points. Jam, hinge. Ray.
What is a door?
They are parts of a door. 2 points. 4 points. Parts of the whole. Cheek strap, snaffle rein. Cheek strap, snaffle rein. Oh. Time. Dan, do you know? Cheek strap and snaffle rein?
I don't know what either of those words are, so I'm going to pass on this one.
Okay. They are both parts of horse tack. Horse tack.
I was going to guess riding habit.
Snaffle rein. Oh, okay. Well, that would have been amusing, but wrong.
Would you?
So good you forbore. Here we go for parts of the whole for 6 points. 1 coiled shell, 1 foot. 1 coiled shell, 1 foot. Time. Those are the 2 parts of a snail. A snail has 1 coiled shell and a single foot. A uniped, a unidexta. Okay, for 8 points in parts of the whole. Mercury bulb, scale. Andy?
A thermometer.
Thermometer is right for 8 points. And finally, for 10 points in parts of a whole. Bulk line spot, center pocket. Bulk, John?
Pool table.
Yes, a bulk line spot in the center pocket is a pool table for 10 points. Next, where do they get these categories from? Parent and child Nobel winners. Oh, like I said, pop culture. Parent and child Nobel winners. Here we go for 2 points. Nobelist George Thomson is the son of J.J. Thomson, a Nobel Prize winner who discovered this negative particle. Nobelist Rochelle?
The electron?
That's right, for 2 points, the electron. Parent and child Nobel winners for 4 points. Ulf von Euler won in 1970. His father, Hans von Euler-Chelpin, won for his work on the role of enzymes in this process in sugar. Ulf von Euler won in 1970. His father, Hans von Euler-Chelpin, won for his work on the role of enzymes in this process in sugar. Time. It was a triple stumper on the show, too. He won for studying fermentation. Fermentation. Yes, they give Nobel Prizes for that sort of thing. Here we go for 6 points. In 1915, William H. and William L. Bragg shared the prize for their analysis of the structure of crystals via this type of image. In 1915, William H. and William L. Bragg shared the prize for their analysis of the structure of crystals via this type of image. Rochelle?
X-ray crystallography.
Yeah. X-ray is right, and always a bridesmaid goes into 3 digits, 102 to 57. And Rochelle's out of this one. For 8 points. Last name of father and son, Niels and Aga, who both won the Nobel Prize in Physics. Andy?
Bohr.
Bohr is right. And Aga, interestingly, was born the year his father won. So that's an interesting side fact. Finally, for 10 points in parent and child Nobel winners, Arthur Kornberg won for showing how DNA duplicates in bacteria. Son Roger's work was on the conversion of DNA into this. Arthur Kornberg, John?
Is it RNA?
RNA is right for 10 points. And finally, eponyms. Eponyms. Or if you prefer, eponyms. But I like eponyms. Good luck, teams, for 2 points. From the disciple who betrayed Jesus, it's one who betrays a friend for some reward. Ray?
What is it, Judas?
Judas is correct. That's the eponym or eponym. Eponyms for 4. This religious sect, living primarily in Ohio and southeast Pennsylvania, gets its name from a 17th century Swiss Mennonite bishop. Andy?
Amish.
The Amish is correct for 4 points. Eponyms for 6. This screw with a cross-slotted head and the needed screwdriver was invented, Charlie?
Phillips.
Phillips head, invented by a Portland man in 1936. Phillips is correct for 6 points. Eponyms for 8. The name of this Trojan prince who was killed by Achilles is now used as a verb meaning to bully. Ray?
Who's Hector?
Hector is right for 8 points. And finally, for 10 points in eponyms, inventor and shirt maker S.L. Cluett's first name gives us this process for minimizing fabric shrinkage. Inventor and shirt maker S.L. Cluett's first name gives us this process for minimizing fabric shrinkage. Time, and it was a triple stumper on the show as well. The process is called sanforizing. Sanforizing. Sanford was the man's name. Well, it got close at the end, but always a bridesmaid dominated from the beginning, and it wins 112 to Casu Marzu 85. 112 to 85. Good team, good game, teams. A lot harder clues than I thought. You both played splendidly. Good luck in the rest of the tournament. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Good playing, guys. Have a good